Can't hear.
I hear. I heard you.
Hey. Hey, ladies.
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome. Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, I miss you ladies. How are y'all?
great. Oh my God. It is.
Great.
Oh, it's time. I, you know, I just don't know what to say, you guys. It has been such a struggle for us to get on tonight. What is going
Yes.
on? We
We made it.
we
Hey,
made it.
Arish. Icy.
Hey, I'm hearing a little bit. Kind of not hearing, but I'm gonna go with the flow.
Yes.
All right,
So
all
work it
right. Welcome,
Yeah, hearing
welcome,
that, but
welcome,
I'll hear.
well,
everybody.
yes.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Can we talk sports, you guys?
Yes. Can we talk sports?
Oh, yes, we can. Yes, we can. Oh man, I have my helmet on tonight. So that's why my hair is all crazy, but I'm here. I'm here.
Yes.
So tonight,
Well,
tonight, you guys, we are taking it to part two. Bench warming versus playing time.
playing time.
We had some great responses last week. We had great comments last week. And so I actually got a hold of the lady who wrote an article. She wrote an article. She says the benefits of bench warming. Wait, let me go back. Let me go back and just tell you who I am. I forgot to tell you who I was. I am Karen Reese. I'm just so anxious to get into this topic. I am Karen Reese.
And I'm Kawashika.
And I'm sure we're going to have the other ladies going to be jumping in. So let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I'm married. I have four beautiful kids, and all my kids play sports. I have a softball player. I have a basketball. I have two softball players, a basketball player, and a football player. My son played football. I have three girls and a boy. And so as a mom, I was in the beginning, I was like, okay, my husband was in sports. And so I was busy
Right.
having the kids. I wasn't that much involved. And so when my son became into football, I got more into football because all the kids were born then. And so I got more into football and I became a booster parent. Shout out to all booster parents who are holding it down for everybody.
Right.
But
Team moms,
yes,
team dads.
yes. So I was a booster parent, and so as a part of that, I loved it, and I loved their kids, and so I stayed on and served other
Mm,
um, other kids once my kids graduate, and from that, I got a love to talk about sports, and so that's a part of my journey right now of just being a mom who want to share. That was one of the things that we didn't have anyone to come back and impart that wisdom. Nobody came back to tell us, what they did, what they didn't do, what you should do. And
right.
so that grew in my heart that, us moms, we have to give back. We have to go back and tell other moms, what you did. And so we're
Yeah.
not constantly reinventing the wheel. And
Right.
so from that, that's where the idea of can we talk sports and bringing the
Came from.
perspectives of moms. We need to hear the voice of mom. It is time to hear the voice of moms. So
Yes.
that's a little bit about
Yes.
me.
Yes. Well, I am Kawashika. Um, just a little bit about me. I am a woman of faith. I'm a wife, of course. I have six amazing children. Um, And just to start out, how I started out with my sons, my older two boys, they was 3 and 7, I believe. And I came from a football family. My grandfather, my late grandfather, all he did is took me to football games and basketball games, and I just read the newspaper at a young age about football. So when my sons got a little older, and I remember seeing something on TV saying, get your kids started in football. That was it. It started from there, and from then on, they done went to college. One of my sons is playing in Colorado. Not only that, my kids now, I have 3 boys and 3 girls, of course, and my girls they're in dance. So I just want to keep it going and going, because when you see that the children have gifts and talents, you always, as a parent, want to stir up that gift inside of them. So just a little bit about me. I love traveling to see being at the games and just having fun. That is my joy. That is my peace. But with the Can We Talk Sports, of course, there are positive things that we see, and there is negative, and we want to prepare our kids or the parents for with their kids that's coming up in the next generation, so they can be prepared on what's to come. So yes, I'm excited. I'm excited about the show, and thank you, Miss Karen. I give it up. Big shout out to you.
Okay, is it my turn? Look, I had, but I think I hear everyone. Okay, I'm Arisha, aka Icy. I know y'all see the spelling. It looks like it says Izzy, but it's Icy. So a little bit about myself is I'm a mother of 4. 3 biological, one that I took in the 8th grade, but currently I have a high school senior who just played football his senior year, and I have 2 daughters. One was an athlete into track, into powerlifting. The other one was, I think she used to do volleyball. Um, my 17-year-old son, he does track as well. And the oldest one that I took in 8th grade, he did track. At one point, he did track, basketball, and football. And he pursued his career in football, college, went to the league, went to one of the other leagues, and working his way in between both, trying to get back in. So I've had to deal with 2 types of spectrum of the whole thing of one easily recruited, one never recruited. So it's been a journey. I love doing it, and I love, learning the process of all of this. Shannon.
Oh, hey guys, how are you? Okay, so
Hey.
listen, I'm just trying to rush to get in here. I was at a
Introducing
Christmas
yourself.
parties, so yes, I hear. And we're introducing ourselves. So, my name is Shannon Mason. I am a mother of 12, but by marriage. So, my husband had 7 from his previous marriage. I had 5 from mine, and my 5 are all athletes. So I have one at NFL. I have a son that is actually going to try out for professional baseball. I have a daughter who plays competitive basketball, so she plays varsity basketball at McKinney North. And I have twins who play football, basketball, and soccer. So I'm like everywhere, all over the place, 5 days a week. So that's kind of my spiel.
All right, all right. So, ladies, I was able to reach out to the young lady who wrote the article, and she wrote an article about the benefits of bench warming. And so I was trying to get her to come on the show, and so she was like, "Oh, I do writing, but I don't do videos." And so I asked her what was behind her writing that article about the benefits of bench warmers. And so um, her name is Rachel. Can't hardly pronounce her last name, but her name is Rachel. And she said she went to the coaches and she talked to the coaches and got their point of view. And so she put it in the article. So, but her thing is that bench warming, and I got from my husband, bench warming is a negative word. So we're going to discuss that. But she said that most all kids, a lot of kids experience sideline, being on the sideline. And so she was just saying that right there will help build character. And she said that by building that character of knowing knowing when someone plays better than you, how do you deal with that? Knowing when you're on the sideline and you want to play, that how that builds the character of how you have to work harder. And so we just want to really dig into that about being on the bench or the sideline, or my husband said as a reserve player. And so let's just kind of just talk chalk that up as let's just kind of dig into that.
Well, bench warmers. Okay, just hey, look, you're warming up the bench for the, keeping it warm. I don't know. It's it's not a bad word to me, but then I see how it can be a bad word. But like we said last week, it's life lessons. You're sitting there, you're learning the game. Um, it's sometimes being on the benches because it's some things that you've done. You're on the bench because maybe you didn't meet the qualification for your grades. You're on the bench because maybe you're not taking studying your play seriously. You're on the bench because you could be redshirting in college or redshirting, getting to know, because high school sports is different than college. College is more fast moving. So it's there's so many ways to look at being on the bench. Um, and if you look at it as being demoted, or if you look at it as a bad thing, then you'll miss the opportunities to change some things. Other words, it's like if you're on the bench, right? If you're paying attention to the game, and don't even look at it on the bench. Don't even just sit on the bench if you can say that. Just like get up and still be involved on the sideline. Pay attention to the game, pay attention to what's going on, so when your time comes you're ready. And like we said last week, this what we call bench warming is it plays even on jobs. It's you could be having to sit on the side right now and somebody else gets a promotion over you, or you're not quite ready and you need to learn the job a little more better. So it's I can see what he's saying. That the saying bench warmer could be, not a good name, but I mean, what other name would you like to call it? I don't know what other name would it's out there besides bench warmer.
Right. So here in Texas, um, football is really big here in Texas, and I just got an article. I think it was yesterday. We just had our state tournament, and the article was about a player who got sent home at the state game. He's a player from North Shore, and he's like a top recruit, and he got sent home. So now, where we look at bench warmer, the next one up, who's on the bench, had to come up to play in the place of this young player. So right there, uh, there's a saying that my husband used to say: "You are as good as your second string," because here it is, a top recruit that wasn't obeying the rules for the team. He got sent home. So the next one up. So even though he was a bench warmer, he got a chance to pull up and prove himself.
That's right.
So there is positive. You just have to work hard and be ready to play when that time comes, because you never know when the time's going to come. Just imagine that kid, had to play behind this player probably all year long, and on the biggest stage of his life, He got pulled to the front. I like that right there. The
Right.
last shall be first.
You got pulled to the front. You got
he
to be
got pulled.
ready.
He's got to be
'Cause
ready.
you never know when that's gonna happen. I mean, an
Yes.
injury could happen, and like you said,
Right.
somebody can get kicked out of the game. And if you look at it as
Right.
I'm sitting on the bench and you're pouting and you got you know what I'm saying, you're not good character, you're not team player, then when the time comes, you're not ready. But if you're if you're there and you're anticipating like today's the day, any minute now I'm going to get called, then you're ready. And when your number,
Right.
there's a lot of guys who've got called up from the bench and end up being like dominating players
Mhm.
that, I
Yeah.
mean, people, it just is, it's something about sitting there waiting. And then when you go in, it's like, I will never go back to that bench again. And they play at a level of, you will never put me on that bench. I'm taking
Wow.
this spot permanently.
Wow.
Right.
Like you see them come off and they kill the game. It's just like they're ready to play. So it's not a bad thing. It kind of it gives you what is it? Momentum. It gives you adrenaline pumping. Like,
It
call my
motivates you.
there it is. Call my
Yeah.
number.
It
I
motivates you.
guarantee you I ain't going back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It puts a fight in you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I hear, what I hear is many are called, few are chosen. That's what I hear.
Yeah.
So when it's your time, when you call, you got to show up.
Gotta
That's how
show
you
up.
become chosen. I mean, because many are called, but few are chosen.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So when you sit on that bench, it's not a bad thing. You ready? You gotta. My son told me the other day that just means you gotta work a little harder.
That's right.
That's it. You gotta
That's
work a little
right.
harder. So yeah, that's what I get from that. Many are called, but few are chosen. So
Right.
when
Yeah.
it's your time, it's time.
It's
It's
time.
showtime. It's
It's
showtime.
showtime.
Yes,
It's
it's your turn.
look at
It's
look
your
at the
turn.
quarterback. Let's look at the quarterback. Is it Lamar? When
Lamar.
yeah, at the
Oh my
what?
God. Oh
Oh my God, I just want to
man.
shake his hand. Like, really? Look at him. And he was
And he's
last in
so
the
humble.
draft, right? He was last in the draft. I
Mhm.
love the picture where they got
Right.
him sitting there with his mom and everybody's
Yes.
gone. And he was the last in the draft. You can call him like a bench warmer at the draft, right?
Come
So
on. Ooh.
everybody went up and he's last. And then he, gets move around on the team or however it goes. But when his number was called,
Ooh.
come on, how you
He
Mm.
gonna
showed out.
come on? And you got everybody
Yes.
lined up to get your jersey.
Come on. And then you beat, is it Michael Vick
What?
record?
What? Come on now.
So bench warmer is not a bad thing at
Yeah.
all. It's just when it's your time, be ready. Just
Just
be
be ready.
ready. Just be ready. Just be ready. You
Stay
learning.
ready. Stay ready.
So how do you I have some questions here, we're gonna kind of dig into how do you think a player should approach a coach about playing time?
Good question.
Well, I know when there's times when at OU, Jordan was on the sideline and he would go to the coach and say, "What do I need to work on?" He don't just go put me in. He's like, "Okay, coach, what do I need to work on?
Yes.
What am I missing?" And so then the coach could tell him, "Hey, I need you to step up here, here, and here," and then he go back and
Right.
work on it, and then Jordan would be able to be put in. So I don't think
Right.
it's go up to the coach and go put me in, or why are you not
Right.
playing me? It's what can I do better? What do you need me to work on? You know,
Right.
and then when the coach tell you work on it, and then if he sees that you've worked on it, that he'll put you in. It's like Julian, when Julian first tried out for baseball and training, and the guy says, "Okay, I'm going to give you some things to do at home. I'll know if you did them or
Mm.
not." Right.
Mm.
Mm.
So Julian went home. He worked on it. Went back to training. He goes, "You worked on them, didn't you?" And Junior's like, "Yeah." He goes, "I can tell." So a coach can tell if you're listening or not, if you're
Right.
doing what he's asked you to do. So I, just going up to them and going, "Why ain't you playing me? And I should be playing." That's not a smart chess move. The chess move is, what can I work on? How can
Mm.
I be an effective player so I can play and be able to contribute?
Right.
That's how you go up to a coach. How can I contribute?
Should
Absolutely. You
now
know,
you were talking about
you
college?
know,
Should the mama go up there?
For what?
no,
What's she going up there for?
no.
What is he go for what?
In, in college,
No, I said you was talking about college, but I'm saying if a younger player like high school, junior high, we have our parents that are going and sent to the coaches and saying, uh, why my son not playing? At what
Why?
point do
no.
the
I think
parents do
no.
it?
Let me get
Oh,
this one. I think the correct way is, how is my son doing? What do he need to work on? What can I help him? What type of
mm,
camps that I can put him on to help him to be a effective player?
That's
That's
right.
how you go to a coach.
That's right.
Yeah. No, no.
Right.
And then I was, yeah,
No, she's right. That's matter of fact, why don't you teach your son or your daughter how to do it? Right?
absolutely.
And say,
That's right.
okay, you're not playing. Why don't you go and ask the coach, what can I work on? Why are you going? Because you can't go to
Right.
college and do it, right?
You're
So
right.
why don't you send you? And you're right. Because now, if you're like sixth grade and down,
Yeah.
it's iffy, you know. But like Kawasaka said, you still go as a parent going, hey, what can my kid work on? They're young. But when you
Right.
get seventh grade and up, tell your child to go to say, hey, matter of fact, I did that with mine. Because when they were in football, when they first started, they were starting. And then all of a sudden they weren't starting. And I said, well, why aren't you starting? No, no, no. I said, why don't you ask the coach, what can you work on? What is it? So they came back and found out there was a few things that they needed to work on. I said, okay, then work on them. I said, ask the coach, what can you work on? Don't ask them to put you in. Just ask them, hey, what can I work on? But why are you going up there talking to the coach? Listen, if you want a
I
job,
think, and
go ahead.
yeah, you're right. What I think is there's levels to this. You
Right,
got little league,
right.
you have middle school,
Hmm.
you have high school, and then college. So little league time to go to the next level, we gotta back up. Now I never done it.
Right,
I let the coaches take care of their business on the field, and I loved it. I
right,
loved it. I was one of those get them, get them. But at the end of the day, it's levels. It's time to step up. Just like they have to step up as a parent, we have to take the next. We have to step up to the next level. And
right,
so we need to know our place. Yeah, we need to know our place.
right,
Yeah, because we're teaching them.
right.
If they see us show out, they're gonna show out.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's a lesson.
It's a
I
lesson.
always said, yeah, I always said that the game of life is football. Just have to pay attention.
I mean, listen, if you're a boss, you gonna want somebody walking up on your job going, why you didn't put my wife in? Right?
Or why you didn't give, or why you didn't give my son the job? I filled out the application.
Right. You're not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna be like, hey, teach your son how to do it, or teach your daughter how to stand up and go up to the coach themselves, not you go and do it. Because you're not gonna be able to fight it. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna be
Right.
able to, because when they get in high school and college, they're gonna have to learn how to do it themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
Yeah.
yeah, and
So
Absolutely.
as a bench in pro, you get paid to be on the bench. Everybody on
Oh,
the team in pro are getting paid, whether they play or not. They're getting paid.
that's right.
look
So
now.
now, Uh,
Listen, I'll warm that bench up for
uh,
$10,000 a
Come
game.
on,
I'll be
right.
like,
hey.
"You
I'd
ready
be
to
on
go?"
there
Look,
cheering you
hey, they be talking
on.
about,
Go,
"You ready
go.
to go in?" I'll be like, "Nah, I ain't ready to go in. You got it. You got it." No, let me stop. But you're right.
It's right. It's
It's
about being you still on the winning team.
Yeah.
right. So
You
you
still
can't
on
look
the
at it
winning team.
right.
Yeah.
DeSoto went. Let me bring this up. DeSoto, for the first time in history, went to state, and I'm pretty sure that everybody didn't get to play. But oh, I bet you they was glad they went to state.
Oh,
And not only that they went to state, they won state.
Wow.
yeah.
I bet you no parent was not in no coach face talking about my son cannot play.
Right.
We all was excited because we're going to state the first time in history.
Wow.
Yeah.
Count it all joy. Count it
Yeah.
all joy.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Because it's a good thing. It's a good
It
Yeah.
thing,
is.
It-
but it all depends. It's all how you're looking at it. You know.
It's right.
Now
The perspective.
I do believe that if a coach does put a kid or athlete on the bench, sit down and talk to them. Let them know why you did it,
Right.
um, and just be upfront with them so they can get a better understanding. If it's, I need you to work on this, or if it's, your grades
Right.
or your attitude. Sometimes you can have an all-American player, but have the most suckiest attitude, right? Just arrogant, and let them
Right.
know
Oh, that's it,
your
Shannon. Miss
attitude
Shannon.
Yeah.
is
Oh,
causing,
yes.
yeah, they could be all American, but
Yes.
they're cocky,
Yes.
disrespectful, walk around like
Arrogant.
arrogant.
Yes.
And if the coach sit them on the bench, I think people don't understand that hurt a coach more to sit their top player
Right.
on the bench, because they need them, but their attitude is causing discord among the team, or it's causing issues, right?
Right.
So if you're sitting them on the
Right.
bench, it's like, listen, I'm sitting you because of your attitude, right? I need better character. Coaches are now, or I seen an article and I wish I could find it. No, we posted it, that the coaches are
Hmm.
looking for character now. And matter of
That
fact, I had an
I talk,
agent I talked to, and he said, listen, he said, I've been doing this
that's it.
20 years. He said, I'll bypass $1 million player
Come on.
to just deal with somebody with a good character and a good attitude. He said, I don't care about the money no more. I've seen it, been there, had it. It doesn't bother me. He said, because I've had $1 million plus players, high draft players, and have the worst attitude in the world. I'd rather take
Mm,
someone who may not be top draft but have the best
yeah.
attitude. I can work for him, right? They're easier to
Right.
work for. So sometimes kids that are being benched, or young people, I mean, athletes, it's because some of them it's their attitude. Show up
Right.
late, you know what I'm saying? Got a little cocky, run a play that they want to run. I I've seen them, even in basketball. I've seen them get benched. I've heard the coach say, run this," and then they ran what they want to run, and coach like pull them out in a heartbeat, just switched them, just like that, because it was like, you did what you wanted to do. You didn't do what I told you to do.
Told you
And
to
sometimes
do.
it's just
That's it.
character. It's character.
Right.
Right. You got to mature. It's just, you can't go to your job and Karen and do what you want to do, can you? Wait. Oh Lord,
No,
that's a
I
whole.
cannot. I
But
cannot.
yeah, you
But
can.
but that is a very good point. When I was reading this article about this player where the team sent the recruit home, they was just saying how they sure that was a gut wrenching decision
Man.
to have to send him
Mm,
home because here their whole state, to win state was on the line. But the thing is, there's not an I in team. It's
That's
the
right.
whole
that's right.
team.
We.
And
Yes.
so
We
even though they sent him home, that team did win state. They went ahead and won state, but at the same time, that coach making that decision probably became a life lesson to that kid
lesson. That's
because they
it.
they had had other problems with him, and so they needed to make a stand, and they did. They made a stand, which is going to help him probably when he goes off to college. That you can't pull that when somebody is in authority and over you, you have to do what you're supposed to do. But at the same time, there was opportunity for those who are on the sideline to come up to play. So it's kind
Right.
of a win-win.
That's
It
right.
can work, both ways. And
Yeah, my hats
so
off to the coach. We should have more coaches like that make decisions with these athletes that, so it's again, it's not a bad thing.
yeah,
It's all how you look at it. It's all how you
Right.
yeah,
look at it.
Right.
yeah.
There's three things you can learn out of the bench warmer. Y'all want to know what it is?
What's the
Okay.
3?
Character,
That's right.
Mm,
conduct, and conversation. Those
mm,
are three main things that you can learn while sitting on the bench:
wow,
character, conduct, and conversation.
That's right.
that's good.
That's
That's
important.
Character, right. Character, what you do when nobody's not looking.
That's right.
Sitting on the
mm,
bench, nobody ain't paying attention. I'm on the
mm,
bench.
Right.
I'm doing. Are
Right.
you paying attention?
Are you watching the
Conduct,
game? Are you sitting over there
yeah,
talking? Are you
right,
are you just like whatever, nonchalant,
right.
right.
because
What's
you
your
you
conduct?
don't think those coaches aren't watching you while you sitting on that bench?
Oh
They're
yeah,
watching everything. They're watching if
yes.
you're focusing, they're watching if you're just sitting over there, talking.
Playing, laughing, yes,
Right. Now,
yes.
when you're a little kid, of course, you're not,
Right, right. That's different.
that's
Right,
different. But when you get to a certain age, they're watching. What are you doing while you're
right,
sitting there? Are you really learning something? Or are you just, I'm on the bench, I don't care, kind of attitude.
right.
So it's it's funny to me sometimes.
I'm back. Y'all
Oh, we
had to
got
get it.
out.
Sorry, y'all. I had to get it together. I had to go in here up and load this little laptop because it was not giving me no love on that iPhone. So sorry for that, y'all.
No, you good.
And then I
It's
couldn't hear
something
y'all.
about
See, I
them
done upgraded my
iPhones.
head. Look, I done upgraded my headphone. I look like Shannon now. Hey,
Yes, welcome.
welcome. Brian is gonna be so proud
Glad
of
to
me.
have you back. I
Okay,
Right.
am.
I'll just kind of catch up with y'all as y'all go. I'm sorry for the interruption.
Oh no, you're
For the
good.
interruption.
You good? You can go
You
ahead and
good.
you have anything to say about bench warming versus playing time?
Sure, I have a lot to say.
Ooh, let's go.
I have something to say. Look,
Yay.
Hey.
hey, look, now I wasn't a bench warmer or anything. Look, he put ice in his bag. Okay, got jokes. Okay.
Y'all silly.
Oh my God, he put ice in his bag. Okay. So as far as bench warming, I think it can go a couple of different ways. I heard Shannon a little early before my phone went out about you can kind of take that as a you know, example of like preparing you for college or if you Icy is back, we missed you. Okay. Um preparing preparing us for like, for the kids for like if you got a red shirt that year,
Yeah.
whatever. Um I think that sometimes the bench warming is not so much of a kid either messing up. It's not where a kid maybe is not good enough. You just sometimes have kids that have talent. Some schools are just loaded and they can't work the other guys in. And you come into that, for example, a school like Allen, they probably have about 20 first string status type kids, but they only can put 11 on the field at one time. And they
Hmm.
probably never get the chance to see the field.
Right.
I can even speak in, sometimes coaches don't even learn to trust their players. They probably have seen them, They have seen them perform, and for some reason, when it's time for being on the big stage, they never take a chance on them. The problem
Mm-hmm.
with sometime when you have a big stage, some of the guys you have out there that's your first string, they're doing one mistake after the other, but you still fail to trust the guys that are working and doing that same workout every week, but you fail to trust the other guys. At this point, if your first string is messing up, what do you have to lose? How do you know that that second or third string kid can't step up to the plate if you never put
Right.
them out under pressure? You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Come on.
I mean, I just think that it's a lot of ways that it could be used. I mean, I can just straight up be straight up right now. My son went through that, and anybody that knows him knows that he's a capable player. You don't go from one school that you've like grew up in that entire community, and then you go to your crosstown rival by chance, and the first day you get on the field, and the first game you become you explode. You turn into a big playmaker,
Mm-hmm.
and then the entire season, not just one game, but every game there were big plays made, big important plays made. To me, that speaks to a coach. He didn't learn how to catch a ball, run routes, shake guys up over the summer or over the spring. He's been knowing that. And that's a lot of kids. A lot of kids have grown up to learn their craft, practice their craft. They don't learn in a summer that I can go play. And I was on the same type of powerhouse team. To me, it speaks to the coaching. Some guys are so used to coaching the smaller scaled kids, not saying anything about kids, but some schools we know have a little bit more developed talent than others. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean these kids aren't good. They may just have a little bit more development, at another program. But some coaches have been used to coaching a lower caliber or a lower division school, that when they decide to get up there and coach powerhouses, they've really bit off more than they can chew. So they probably should take themselves back to learn, how do I know if this guy is running the right routes? Some of them are just there putting kids in the game off of who they know, or because this kid's taller, this kid's faster. A kid may be taller or faster, doesn't mean he's doing all the fundamental and technical things that that smaller kid is doing. It happens. They display what it is on the field. So if you go from one school to the next and you fail to know you had this explosive talent in one season, how did you miss that? How did you let that kid get away? So in that case, you've had a guy sitting on the bench in their junior year, and I'm speaking from straight up experience. My kid's is a senior now. He didn't get any junior film,
Wow.
so therefore it affected his recruitment. He's totally under recruited now. But every game you were seeing him in the headlines or player of the game type stuff, and it's not about that, but the fact that you're capable of being that explosive for another team that's known to be a powerhouse team. Somebody missed that at the other school, and it's just kind of hard that some kids suffer. They become a bench warmer, but not bench warmer material, which makes kids sink into depression. You don't realize it. They try to carry on every day to be the tough guy because football makes you be tough. There's a lot
Mm.
of kids crying inside because they can't understand why they're not getting the attention that they need to get, or I'm working my butt off equally or even harder. You got some guys that may miss practice, out of dress code through the week, and they're following, whatever it is that the rules are, they're getting to get in that game every day, every week. But the other kid that's doing everything right, you all of a sudden are just overlooked, And so it's a topic that's hard because so many people are on that bench that don't deserve to be.
So then the question is this: when you have a school like an Allen or an
Yeah.
OU, these
Mhm.
powerhouses school,
Mhm.
right? As
Right.
a parent, the question goes, do I leave my kid there or do I
Mm.
move them? Right?
Hmm.
Um, I like when I had to move, when I moved my daughter to where we are, and I said, and she's like, man, I don't want to start all over. And I said, listen, I said, I sometimes I like the underdog. I said,
Yeah.
because you can go in and you can dominate, right? You
Yeah.
have an opportunity to dominate. So is the question goes, as parents, you're wondering, because I know parents have these questions out there. Do I try to find the powerhouse school,
Hmm.
or do I find a school that's the underdog and give my kid an opportunity to dominate for the school? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's the $1,000,000 question. Do I leave my kid here at this powerhouse, and now we're 2 years in, and there's a chance he may not or she may not play, and take her him or her to another school that's not a powerhouse, but I know they're going to get playing time. What do you
I
do?
in my situation, and I think in a lot of people, because there's been multiple people that asked, how did you were you afraid to take that risk? Your kid's gonna be a senior. The thing about it is, I always said if you're gonna make a move, don't make a dumb move. Don't make a move because you think. Get clarity first. Get some understanding. Find out what things are looking like. Because of the fact of my son, in his case, he's a competitor. He's not afraid of competition. You have certain parents who are honest with their kids that my kid's good, but I know he's not good as a couple of kids there. In that case, to me, you may want to take them down to another level because you may run into the same problem going to another powerhouse. But if you know your kid is better than some guys that are out there are equally as good as the guys that are starting at the school he's possibly considering moving from, then why not take him to another powerhouse? Because if a coach knows how to recognize talent, he's going to be there anyway. Yeah, my son left one powerhouse to another powerhouse that's really considered a bigger powerhouse than the one he left at this moment. Over the years they kind of been battling back and forth of who's the better team. You know, the last few years, the one we end up being the better team for the last 3 years. You know, and then from there they kind of went every other year battling between each other. But my if your kid ain't scared of competition, because that's one thing you got to also remember, you don't want a kid going to another school. Now you get to play and do, now you feel like you the man or the woman, whatever it is. Then you get back in college, back in the same position. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I always
Mhm.
feel like if you know your kid can get out here and compete with the best, and he's proven time and time again, like your son Shannon, right? He's a receiver, right? He's a wide receiver. And you probably can promise it's a lot of kid guys that probably can't line up against him that can hold him. So if you know what kind of receiver your son is, of course you take him to the best because he ain't doing nothing, but he gonna get bored, routing up all these other weaklings. You know what I mean? So the school my son went to, first, second, third string receivers were good. If my son would have been missing in a game, the guy next there is going, it ain't going, you ain't gonna see too much of it. They had a nice receivers core. So,
Well, it all
I-
depends. You're right about that. It all depends when you take a kid, like we'll say, my son. If he's a leader, then
mhm,
he'll rally that team up and say,
yeah,
"Listen, I played in a powerhouse.
right, right, right,
I can
right.
show you the ropes. We can be that powerhouse at this level." It all
Hmm.
depends on now if the kid's not a leader, then no, they're gonna go there and they're gonna drown, they're gonna get frustrated and
That's
they're not
right.
gonna, but if they're a leader, then they're gonna go, I was where you are. Like you can
Hmm.
get to this level. I can show
Right.
Right,
you, coach, I know how to win. I
Know how
played
to
on a
do this.
winning team. So
right.
Right.
That's Yeah.
yeah, it all depends on what kind of kid you're dealing with when and it's funny because that's kind of like the situation with my daughter. It's like, look, you need you got to learn how to rally together. You know, she went from 6A, she's playing 5A right now. So
Mhm.
it's like it's okay, but they're really good though, right? So it's she got in there and she made friends and she got, just mingled with the coach, and so it's like, look, and they actually are working together as a team, and the girls is good. There was some tough cookies, right?
Right.
So
Mhm.
it's not about always playing for the powerhouse. It's how can I be an influence no matter where I go? You ever seen that post where they say, throw me to the wolves and I'll lead the
Yes.
pack? You know,
Yes.
if you have that kind of mentality, it's like you could put me on 5A, 3A, 4A. I'm going to lead them
I'm
jokers
gonna
to a
do it. Yeah.
championship, period.
Right.
Because
Mhm.
Right.
winning and that drive is in you, then you're going to help them get there. You-
Right.
I love Jalen from OU's first interview. I don't know if you guys ever seen it. And they won. And he set a
Oh yeah, yeah,
record.
yeah, yeah.
And did you see
Mhm.
the interview? And he had set a
Yep.
record. And so the lady was interviewing him. She's like, you guys just won. And he had this straight face.
Yeah.
And now this is a powerhouse
Mm.
college, right?
He did. He said
and
about rat poison.
and he had a straight face and he goes, I gotta talk to my boys. We gotta do better.
Mhm.
And I just sat
Me too.
there.
Mm.
And she's like,
Mhm.
Oh, that's
you set this
good.
record and you did. And she
Mhm.
was like,
That wasn't it. That's not it.
and this is a powerhouse. And he didn't take the credit for the record. That
Or
record didn't mean
anything. I
anything to
remember
him.
that.
He didn't,
Mhm.
he set an OU record, a newcomer record. I mean, and she's like, you're not small. He goes, I gotta talk to my boys. We gotta do
Yep.
better.
He said,
Mm.
I'm not gonna let that rat poison. Like in
Come
other words,
on.
all that's not gonna make he. Yeah, those
I
were the in
love his
those. I think the
interviews.
way. Yeah, me too. He just was like he stayed humble. Like that ain't gonna
That's
make
right.
me off get off my game. I like him too. He's very he could
Right.
a lot of guys could learn something from him. But
Really.
his situation almost reminds me of my son having to leave another powerhouse to another one, even though he's on the college level. And he
Right.
talked about how he broke down emotionally. He never showed us, but he said it was times that he was in his dad's lap just crying.
Mm.
Hey,
We never
Arisha,
saw that. Uh-huh.
what was, since you experienced, your son with playing time, did you did you ever approach the coach, or did your son ever approach the coach? Did you ever advise him to approach the coach as
Yes.
far as, we want to talk about how should parents or kids deal with coaches? Do you have some experience
Yeah.
about that?
There's a few different directions to go with that. In our case, I mean, I feel like this. I don't want to be the mom that's having conversations with coaches when you're out there practicing with them every day. You
Right.
know,
Mm-hmm.
um, so one thing, and I can say from the previous coach, everybody knows him, Coach McGuire, like an excellent guy. He is such a communicator. So the person who took the position claimed to have those same morals. So not to even get personable about it, but the whole policy is like, look, parents, we want to make these guys out of men. We always want to make sure that they know that they can always come talk to us. So, which was perfect for me because I've always felt like Jordan could afford to speak up more. But a lot of coaches, strangely enough, when they would do the introduction, they would say, we don't want kids to think they're going to get in trouble from coming to ask questions. So I always would remind him of when they would do that parent, it was like a parent athletic meeting where they would tell us this is how we do. We want the guys to ask questions first. We don't mind talking to parents, but if there's a problem, we and you come talk to us about something that your son, we don't even know there's a problem because he's never approached us about it. So I always would tell Jordan, well, have you talked to your coach? Nothing I can say or nothing if he rarely had a complaint, but I think in his gut he started feeling something weird, but which was odd, but then they were talking to me differently. He's had an excellent spring, excellent summer. So anyway, So with the way things are looking, it doesn't look like he was going to run into that problem. 7-on-7 comes, he's great. His situation came from an injury, and it was a growth spurt. And rule of football is you don't lose your job for injury. Yeah, next man up. But if, for example, Zeke goes down, and I mean we can use college or NFL, but it's just across the board. If he goes down and he's down for a week or two, he don't come back and have to start at the bottom of the depth chart to come back. He's coming right back where he left off at. That backup guy probably still get reps. You don't make somebody start over that worked and earned it rightfully. So in our case, I would tell Jordan to go talk to him, but it was almost like he really didn't have to. I was trusting that what they said was right. I'm thinking they're being protective. Okay, he just got released from the doctor, such and such day. This is close to week one. They're gonna make sure he don't just get pushed out there. So the first game, okay, good. Second game, oh, they just probably still don't feel quite comfortable, even though he's 100%. They're just being protected. I never took it that it was going to be an ongoing thing. So after week 3, I was like, okay. So I know I could tell it was bothering him. So I said, well, go talk to your coach. Go ask him what's what, because he was in a huge part of the offense. So when he tried to do his part, I think a parent should make sure a kid goes to ask themselves first. Go find out. Make sure that you're honest. You straight up tell them, are you at practice working hard? Are you doing anything? Are you late? Find out if they're messing up somewhere down the line, and no, don't sugarcoat it. Are you being late to practice? Are you not giving your all? Are you getting in trouble? If they're not doing any of that, okay, well then now go after practice, go to coach's office, or during the class period, go, and that's the steps I would advise a parent to take. Ask your son to go speak up first. After they do that, and it seems like they may tell them one thing and do another, you wait a little bit, and I think you just respectfully ask to have a meeting. I just want to know if my son's doing. I know kids may leave some stuff out sometime. He may not be telling me that he doing, you know what I'm saying? So you don't automatically think coach is picking on your kid, because we all know kids will leave stuff out. So in my case firsthand, they talked about him like he was the perfect kid.
Wow.
Like, he
Yeah.
never gets in trouble. He does his job. We're gonna work it in. In this case, they had a coach that just passed through, that they put on the staff, and he was one of the reasons that happened. But as a head coach, you know what kid done what in the spring and done it all the way up until this. So if you let a new coach come in, you need to let that new coach, hey, this is how we had this
Yeah,
kid
that's
working in the
right.
offense. You don't just let a guy come in 3 weeks before the season comes in, and your guy that was your starter is no longer playing or even touching a field. And then you have a meeting with that new position coach, or that's an addition position coach, and you don't ever, all of a sudden the guy's telling you, well, you're down here and my other receivers are up here. Okay, well, what is it that
Mhm.
he's doing? Those questions are asked. I mean, and that was straight up what this coach told us. He now coaching at Molina, where he probably should have started out coaching. You know, like, those are the type of kids you go coach when you tell somebody who's always open, like my son.
No,
That
you didn't.
I saw
Always
that. I
open.
saw that slide.
always
Oh,
D
open.
Rob, D Rob, we
Yeah,
saw
Always
that. We
open.
gotta
right,
do that.
Come
We
always
on.
saw that
open, baby.
slide. We saw
It,
that
it,
slide.
it showed on you. Yeah, you saw it. I had to. It went with the thing. So that
yeah.
particular coach went to Molina, but the problem is you have to know that you're dealing with an honest coach.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
coaches can't tell you stuff to keep you out of their face. Number one, I was a parent that was like, this coach could sign me up to for something that he won't done on the team, and I'm like, I'm that supportive parent. Busy
Hmm.
and all. Okay, I got you, coach. I'll help you out. I'll get some other parents to help us. Can you get some parents to do? He knew I was so I wasn't that parent that was. I don't believe that parents that are yelling and cussing coaches out in the stand during a game, at practice, that is not benefiting your kid.
It sure
Right.
isn't. It
And
makes
I'm
it
not
worse.
gonna get my questions answered
That's
cursing and
right.
yelling a coach out.
That's
So
right.
I would tell them in the meetings, I'm only calling the meeting because I want Jordan acts, to me, he was afraid to speak back up. He was like, he got chewed out for asking a question. He was told, we're winning and you're talking about playing time. All he did was say, Coach, since I've been back from injury, am I going to start getting work back in the offense? He was a major part of the offense.
Mm,
We were informed he was in all packages except for two or three.
mm.
You go from being in all these packages to barely getting on the field or getting in with 2 or 3 minutes left in a game that you're blowing somebody out by 80 points.
Wow.
Mm.
So
Wow.
why would this kid not ask when he was one of your starters?
Yeah.
So it doesn't, it was legitimate. It was a legitimate reason to go ask and for that kid to go ask, Coach, what do I need to do? Am I doing something wrong? So that's what the first meeting was about. We're going to start getting you in, blah, blah, blah. But that particular one coach, he was very long winded and not saying anything. The only result he came is, well, right now, you're right here, and the other ones are right here.
Wow.
He had a backup quarterback
Wow.
playing in front of my son.
Wow.
So,
And this the new coach? Is this the new coach
yeah,
that
because Coach
came?
McGuire would have never did that. Yeah, he would have
Oh
never
Oh
did
yeah.
that.
no.
So
He knows.
that's what that is. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, he had to move on to the real powerhouse.
yeah, that's what that is, the you.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't let people come back 41-14, and I've been diehard Peter Hill. But I'm gonna put it like this: we the McGuire area Cedar Hill. They ain't never coached my son. My son's the McGuire boy, and he a
Oh.
Mathis boy. Put it that way.
Hey, you
Mm.
So,
guys, we had a parent that sent in a question to us. She wanted to ask us a question from LA, and
Okay.
her question was Gardena High made it to state, and so they were preparing to go to state. The team had paid for the trip, and so the mom of one of the players wanted to stay in the son's room. And
Mhm.
so the team said, no, you can't stay in the son's room. And so the mom kept the player from going to the biggest game that was probably of their kid's life.
Oh my God.
Going to the state game, the mom kept that player from going. And so
Because
someone wrote in to us and asked us what's our thoughts about that? That she was trying to get into to stay in the hotel room with her son.
and didn't allow him to play because she was not allowed to.
Didn't allow her son to go to the game because
You will never ever forget
She
that.
wrong for that. Yeah,
That will
she's
cost.
wrong for that. That was
That's gonna
about her.
cost
That was
her.
about her son.
That's
yeah.
gonna
Yeah,
do
she
cost
made
y'all
a
her.
see my
decision based on
face?
Right. That's gonna
she
cost.
made a decision based on her personal issue or whatever her you
Issues.
didn't
There
think
you
about
go.
your kid, dude.
That's
Yep.
That's
gonna
your
cost
kid.
her
That's him.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
mentally.
that's
That's
I would say
I
mentally,
not reach.
yep.
emotionally. Yeah,
He's
mentally,
Yeah.
never gonna
emotionally,
do
and
that.
spiritually, that's gonna cost her.
Yeah.
She doesn't realize it, but that
Wow.
is because that did something to him mentally.
Yeah.
That affected him. You took something from me,
That I
all
worked
because you couldn't
all this
stay in the
time
room.
for.
Why
Yeah.
did you want to stay in the room? What was the purpose?
I don't know, maybe
And
she couldn't
how old is
afford.
he?
He's in high school. This was high school. And
Are you
most
serious right
time
now?
if you're going out of town, you're putting two and three boys in a room. So
Right.
it's not like he had his own private room for her to
So she kept him because they wouldn't let her stay in the room?
she
First
kept
of
him.
all, that's high school policy. I mean,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
That's like if it was a female's basketball team
They're not gonna
and
let
the
the
dau-
dad
the,
stay
the,
in the
the
room.
dad wanted to come stay in
Right.
there, that would have been a no-go. So what if she had a daughter, she wouldn't want this man staying in a
Exactly.
room
With all her
with her
right.
daughter. So how do you feel?
Exactly.
That's not okay.
Because
But
listen, if
she
that would
wanted
have been my son and you let another listen, by the time I tore up that school, to find out you let a woman stay in a room with all them boys, I will own your school.
and then this is another thing that she just hurt. She possibly hurt his recruitment.
Yes,
because
Mm.
they
ma'am.
already number one, they
She
travel and be in rooms all the time. You can't do that when he's in college.
and the
Right.
crazy thing is she humiliated him.
That's sad.
Yeah.
She humiliated
Oh
this
wow.
boy. That's mental. You embarrassed me. You took me because you couldn't stay in the room, so you benched me for no reason.
So you basically
Yeah,
your
so
mom, the coach didn't bench you, your mom benched you.
there you go.
That's
Yeah,
wrong.
she didn't
The
bench him. She
parents.
took him out the game.
Yeah, that
I'm
right.
saying
She
that
took him
like I'm just
out the
saying that.
game.
She took him out the game. He couldn't even go to the game.
He couldn't even
So
go
you
to
work
the
all
game.
year, practice endless and countless hours all year to get to a spot that's not easy to get to the state game.
I wouldn't even want to go back
And
to
you
school.
took
You couldn't have got me to
you
get
took
out the
that
bed to
from
go to
him.
school.
That's
Do you know how
wrong.
Mm.
embarrassing that would have been to go to school
Listen,
laughing
I
at
would have
me?
went anyway.
Yeah, I'd have had to rebel that time, Mom.
I
Yeah,
had
you
to
right.
rebel. No, you're not stopping me.
I'd have been
No.
like, "Oh, mom, I'm going to
And
stay at so
listen,
and so's
here's
house."
the
I got on
thing.
that bus. Are you serious?
Yeah, here's the thing. There are parents, I'm sorry, parents. There are parents that will stop their children from their destiny. And that was an example. Absolutely. No, no way,
Just crazy.
no way that you wouldn't even in your right mind would think to do anything like that. You literally stopped your own son from his purpose. Are you trying to? Because I'm
Would
pretty
he
sure,
work his butt? Yeah.
right?
Right.
Would
He
he
could be
work his
doing
butt
Yeah.
off
anything
all
else.
the
He could have been
time?
doing. He could be doing anything else in this world. It's so many things that these boys that can get into, and you did that.
Yeah.
Shame on you. No,
Yes.
Yeah, that's
that
At
was
the
wrong.
same
crazy.
time, real quick, real quick, did y'all already before I came back in discuss how the kid from North Shore got disciplined
Yeah.
and did not get to perform into the y'all already
Right.
discussed that
Yeah.
for team?
Yeah, we talked. Yeah, that was a good coach by the call. I mean, that was a great call by the
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, that's
And look, they still won.
that's humbling him. That's
And
humbling
still
him.
won. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
And you might look at it as being something small because he wouldn't give him his phone, but it was about being obedient. They have a
Obedient.
rule and they wanted them
wait a
to
minute.
focus
Wait a
on
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a
they
minute. He didn't want to give him his phone.
he didn't want to give him his
Right.
phone
At
because they
curfew.
they wanted it
Listen,
to concentrate on the game.
America,
Get some sleep.
I
Hmm.
would have took my child, hung him upside down. Y'all just you didn't want to give the coach the phone? Are you
The
serious?
phone. The phone.
He needs you to go to sleep to get some rest for your game the next day. So
Yeah.
everybody else on the team turned their phones in, and you chose on curfew not to turn your
If the
phone in.
coach would have called me and said, "I'm taking your son out because or I'm your son," because he wouldn't give me the phone, I would have said, "Bet I'm on my way." He would never, ever,
I would
ever,
have been like, you ain't gotta take him out. He finna be on injury reserve
girl, right?
when I get there anyway. So either
Injury
way,
reserve. He would have been red shirt for about 4, 5 years
Yeah.
over a phone.
he just hurt himself.
You'd be amazed.
Oh my god.
I heard
You'd be
that kid had
amazed
a
that
lot of
these.
offers.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, see,
Georgia,
you'd be amazed how
Alabama.
these. Yeah, you'd be amazed how these kids are addicted over these phones. But that was a lesson that he had to learn because he probably felt like he probably was arrogant. That player that we talked about, they get arrogant. They got so many offers. They're not humble, uh, and that needed to happen to him to stop him in his tracks before he get grown.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
humiliated his own self on that one.
his own self. But
Oh,
what, like I say, I mean, they some players they big time, so nobody can't touch them. Nobody can't tell them what to do. This my phone. I'm gonna keep my phone.
Mhm.
And so the coach did the right thing because in life that's not what it is. I mean,
that's
you're gonna
right.
find out later on. You're gonna find out later on. You can't just go on a job and do anything, say anything. If the job tell you to put your phone away,
You
You
gotta
better
put your
put your
phone
phone
away.
away. Put your phone away.
Oh, I wish I
So
would have done something like that. Got fired.
that's a
Maybe I
great
got fired
lesson.
because I didn't put my phone away. My
Put
husband
my
would have
phone
would
away.
have been like, "And you gonna go ahead and pack your bags and keep on going." What? You got fired because you
Oh
didn't put
God.
your phone away? Oh, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Hey, you
Mm.
guys, I know we could go on and on and on. These are great topics, but we're going to end the show with what Big Mama got to say. And so, you guys, let's go ahead and say our goodbyes and tell everybody to come back next
See
week.
you next
Share the
Yes,
video.
Sunday.
thank
See
you.
you. Merry Christmas,
Merry
everybody.
Christmas,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's see
Merry
Thank you
what
for
Big Mama got to
joining in.
say. Can't hear.
Go big mama. Go big mama. Go big.
I can't hear
Go
anything.
big. Oh, you can't hear it.
Okay, as you know, we've had some technical difficulty all day today, all this evening. So it must be something going on that's trying to stop us. So as our
Right.
technical person is queuing up Big Mama, because we want you to hear Big Mama.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's funny.
Yeah.
it's just a part of the show, and as he's queuing it up, he'll let us know when he's ready to bring it on, and we'll bring Big Mama back, and we'll. So while we're waiting on him to give us the okay, have you guys did all your Christmas shopping yet?
Uh,
Oh yes, I
no,
did
I
it
think so.
today.
no,
No.
no.
Oh, Shannon.
Mm-mm.
Yes, I did it
Wait a minute
today.
now. Listen, y'all. Listen, I got 25, 21, 16. Give them a gift card and that's it. You get your gift card, you get your money, go buy what you want. Cause yeah, that's my
Well,
shopping.
then, in
That's
that
my
case,
shopping tip. When they get of age, get a
right.
gift card. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that case,
And
then yeah,
yeah, Dallas is and there's malls out here. Lord have mercy.
ridiculous,
Oh
huh?
gosh. I don't even want to go fight the crowd. I don't even have the energy, y'all. Give them a gift card, say Merry Christmas, love you, and keep us stepping.
that sounds that sounds good. That sounds good. You guys. So next week, you guys, we're gonna talk about recruiting. Ooh, the
Oh, I
ins
got a
and
lot to
out,
say about
Oh,
that
good.
subject. Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
the
That'll
ins
be
and
a
Ooh,
nice
outs.
subject.
The
that's
That'll
the
be a
real
nice
deal
the
one.
on
negative
TV.
recruiting, the negative and the positive, because there's some
And
recruiting that should
Ooh
not be
wee.
going on, and then there's
you
some
sure right. You sure right
Recruit,
about that.
recruit, recruit.
And then look, the under recruited,
right.
the ones
Under
that are
recruited.
highly recruited, and then there's those that are under recruited. Recruited, yeah.
And that under table recruiting. Yeah.
Under the
Ooh,
table
I don't know
recruit.
about no on
Okay.
the table.
Me
Under
too.
table
Me either.
recruit.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear that.
We
Me too.
the high yeah, I can talk about that under table recruiting. We saw that happen firsthand in high school.
All right.
Wow.
Okay, he says he's ready. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go, Big Mama.
Oh, Big Mom,
Oh,
what you
still
gonna do?
can't hear. All right, we still can't hear. We're still working on this, you guys, because we want you to see this. Or we might just have to wait until next week.
Maybe,
What
maybe
what you guys think? We'll go ahead. We're already it's been a trying day. But I'm
Yes, it
thankful we're gonna
has.
continue to plow through. We're gonna continue
Right.
to
Keep
move
going.
on through.
Yes. We
yeah.
got to. Yes.
Yes.
When
It was a pretty
something
good topic.
good, yeah. So
So
yeah.
So
It'll be
listen,
good.
guys out there, send a comment in, send us a message, give us a topic. We'll love to talk about it. If you want to be a guest on the show,
Yes.
please message us. We would love to have you on the show. Male, female, coach, not coach, recruiter, financial advisor, agent, anything or anyone that deals in the sports industry, president, captain, whatever you want to call it, we will have you on the show. We will talk about it. Trainers, because trainers probably got some stories. I used to be an athletic
Mm.
trainer in college, and oh, I can tell you some stories about them jokers in that locker room.
Yes.
So
Mm.
listen, leave us a comment, share the page, let everybody know because we're just getting started. 2020 is
Yes.
coming out
Yes.
blasting. We're going to talk on
Yes.
subjects you would not believe
Yes.
because it's time. It's time
Yes.
to take things from under the rug and expose them, and let's be real about it and talk
Yes.
about it.
Yes.
Let's talk
Yes.
about it.
All
Talk.
right.
Thank
All
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
right.
you. Thank
everyone.
Thank you,
you.
Lai.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
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 Bye, ladies.
See you
Bye.
See y'all
later.
later.